Today we're doing a sketchbook tour. So I've got two sketchbooks here. I have this one from 2013, 10 years ago, and I have this one from 2023. This is the one I'm currently working in, and what we're going to be looking at today is just the difference between the two. First of all, you can tell I work a lot smaller now, but we'll get to that. So first we're going to start with this one. This is before I ever got into CalArts. This is just when I was beginning to call myself an artist for the first time. If you are a millennial artist, you'll remember Pixel Lovely was like the only resource that we really had for life drawing. I decided I was going to go to CalArts at this time. I decided it in my head and in my heart, so I started studying film. This is Sweetie Todd, and this is just screen grabs that especially stuck out to me. And this was Rope by Hitchcock. So what you'll notice here is that in these early days, what I was really working on was I was practicing observational skills and I was practicing anatomy. Those were my two big ones. And I was really experimental with color. These are all, you can't even tell what these are. This is a lady. But really what I was focusing on in these early days was just pencil mileage. Just moving the pencil as much as I could, observing as much as I could. I was working in watercolor at the time. This is an observation drawing of my parents in the car. This is my dog. And this one was a family party that I went to on the Chamorro side. I quite like this. I did a good job on the draperies here. Even 10 years later, I still like that. These are my characters, Eleanor and Devin. I still make a comic about them, but you will see that their personalities change drastically. Observational drawing of a Starbucks, of the people in the Starbucks. I was really taking the sketchbook with me everywhere that I went, and I was just trying to draw in it every day as much as humanly possible. There's also a lot of trans stuff in here. Surprise. I'll point that out as we get to it. This is a foot. It was my very first time drawing a foot. This one got pretty good. And I didn't yet know the rule that when you are learning something new, draw it 100 times. This is Crayola crayons. I was just experimenting. You'll see I didn't have a good sense of facial forms. If I really slowed down and took my time, I could get it. But my observational skills were severely lacking. And it was really because I didn't yet know how to observe. My eyes were not very good, but my hand was even worse. These were, I decided to improve as quickly as possible. I was going to do 1-minute gesture drawings, and I would do just a fuck ton of them. If you looked at the reference images, these look nothing like the reference images. But sometimes I kind of get the gesture down. Around this time, I actually showed my sketchbook to an animator who was in the industry, and he said that that's one thing about me is I really had the gesture down, the feeling, the energy. But again, I don't think these are good. Except this one. This one's cool. That's a cool piece of art. I still like that. Something that I was really struggling with at this time was appeal. You'll see too in the sketchbook because I brought it with me everywhere. I would flip it in all different directions. The next page is literally upside down. Grab it, bring it towards me, and then just start drawing. So something that I do like about this sketchbook is that I was just experimenting. I did not know what I was trying to do. I did not know what I was trying to do, but I was showing up, and that's for damn sure. And I did get better, slightly, just from showing up. I didn't even know what I was studying, really. I would get really frustrated and just scribble, because like I said, my eye wasn't that good, but my hand was even worse. And that is like one of the most frustrating things that can happen when you're an artist, is knowing what you want to draw and then drawing. This is my grandma, she's passed now. Knowing what you want to draw, drawing, and then it turning out nothing like how you wanted it to be. At this time, I was living with my grandma. So my student film when we were young, the seeds of it were planted here in 2013. She's making adobo. This is her like crumply little legs in the kitchen, and this is what the cabinets look like. And I still really like this. This is a beautiful little triptych. Now this is where we really get to the trans shit. I made a comic that was called The Young Cute High School Boys Club, and the whole comic was about how I wanted to be let into the club, but they wouldn't let me in the club because I was a girl. I mean, come on, can we get any more on the nose? Here, this one says, "It's top secret boy stuff, you wouldn't understand. What color panties do you think Rainbow Dash wears?" That's still funny. I still think that's funny. But the whole comic was just about me trying to get into the Young Cute High School Boys Club. Here are the characters of the Young Cute High School Boys Club. I was trying to work on design, had no clue what design was. I didn't even know basic anatomy, girl. You gotta know your basics first. At this time, I was really just grinding as much as I could. What is that? What is that? I don't know. I'm sure at the time I was really frustrated by it. But it's okay, because I was showing up. These were composition drawings. These compositions suck. These are trash. That one's okay. These suck. I didn't even, like, where's your eye supposed to go? Where? Nowhere? Okay, that's what I thought. And then this one, that's supposed to be me. Girl, what the fuck? That one's a little closer, but this sucks. Like, that's just something that I really want you to understand, is that I was not good. Not at all. But I was just doing studies, and I scripted comics, and I still script comics. You'll see it in my next sketchbook. But literally everywhere that I went, I took the sketchbook. That kind of looks like my friend, but a really like unappealing version of my friend. I would get mad and scratch it out. I carried a huge charcoal stick with me, and I would just draw as fast as I could. Later on, I started to learn that precision was better than just laying shit down. But at this point in my life, laying shit down was all I could do. This is when I started studying backgrounds and drawing from life. This is Peach, Bowser, Toad, and Mario. This is kids at a park. And this is my first time drawing cars. I was always really scared to draw cars. They're way easier than I thought. Video games come up a lot because when people play video games, they stay still. So that's when I draw them. This is an airplane. Beautifully done. I still like this airplane. This, you'll see I start to get better from all of those skull and anatomy studies that you just saw me going through. So what I'm trying to do here, and this is an important lesson I didn't know at the time, is I did the studies, but then I had to apply them. So, Jesus Christ. Earlier in the sketchbook, you'll see I wrote my comfort zone, and here I said specifically like anybody between the ages of 14 to 22, I'm good. Anybody who's older than that, I can't do. So I started trying to draw people who were older than that, and I did a bad job. But the first time you try something, it's not going to be great. It's really not going to be great. That's okay though. These are, you can't tell. I'm sure you can't, but these are animal drawings from the zoo. This is an elephant. This is a jaguar. So if I could give advice, that's okay. If I could give advice to myself from this time, it would be to just slow down. Slow down and actually look. Don't just draw. But I didn't know that. Nobody had taught me that. I thought you were just supposed to draw as much as you can. And I did draw as much as I can, and I did okay. But I would have gotten better faster if I had been intentional with my drawings. This is supposed to be a forest. Like, girl, what? Jesus. Okay, it's all right. It's all right. She's learning. And I did start to get better. That's correct. That hamstring to calf is correct. That knee is right. I mean, you still need to work on the shoes, but basically, yeah, you're getting it. And this one I still like because I used black to designate the foreground, and then I used a gray marker to push the background back. And then back here, I used an even lighter gray to recede the background. That was cool. This is the same one, but I just did it in color. You'll see again. Video games, great for drawing people. And I think we're just about done. Yeah, this is me. And my people drawings are getting way better just from the beginning of the sketchbook. For contrast, here's people I drew in the Starbucks, and here's people I drew in the airport. It did get a lot better just from showing up. I didn't really know how to do studies, but that's okay because I showed up. Here's some more comic scripting, and thank God we're done. Okay, that's sketchbook 1. Now we're gonna move on to sketchbook 2, and I'll explain a little bit my process now. So immediately you'll see I still do the thing where I turn the sketchbook, and my facial anatomy is so much better. The structure of the head I actually understand now. So all of those anatomy drawings actually paid off, because look, that's right. That's right. I mean, I still, of course, can improve and need work, and I am trying to improve all the time, but I'm pretty fucking proud of where I am as far as body goes. I can draw different body types, all kinds of shit. Here's an observational drawing, and I'll put it next to this one that I was very proud of. And you can see the difference, just my line confidence and also my understanding of depth. This is so much more in the space than this is. If I could change this, I would enlarge the foreground, but I started here and then moved here. So this should be much bigger, but you know, whatever. It was just for practice. But the main difference that I see here is that I actually understand space now. I knew to recede that. And the difference in pen choice, here I used black to designate the front, as I'd said. Here I used a much thinner pen to designate the background. That's what's called atmospheric perspective, my friends. And here's the biggest difference in studies. So in this sketchbook, you'll see I'm really concentrating on backgrounds and perspective for the very first time. It's about time I learned. It's been 10 years. But I'm really concentrating on perspective in particular. And what I'm doing with my perspective studies is I am choosing something to study, a specific thing. The shape of buildings in 4-point, the shape of buildings in 2-point, from the top and from a 3/4 angle. I'm really intentionally deciding what I'm going to learn from a drawing, and then that's when I draw it. And that's a huge difference from back in the previous sketchbook when I would just throw stuff onto the page. Another thing that I'm really proud of here is bone to muscle to fleshy belly. I think that's very well done. I think I'm really good at that now. I mean, it makes sense. I've practiced a lot. Anatomically, I can draw different body types, like I said, and the arm length is correct. I mean, there's just little things I'm proud of, really, in comparison to the last one. Even just the placement of the feet, to the placement of the counter, to the placement of the bowl, little perspective lessons that I've learned. My composition in general on the page, compared to just opening to a random page, compared to this, my page composition is a lot better. And I'm not even doing it consciously. For me, sketchbooks, as you can tell, are just a place to think out loud. And I'm still just doing that. Studies on the left side and drawings on the right. But my thinking is so much clearer now. Even here, I need to use pencil for the background and pen for the foreground so that this one would look in front of that one. And another thing I'm really proud of is my facial expression. In the previous sketchbook, there wasn't a lot of variation in the faces. Here, I'm able to capture subtlety really well, and therefore get personality across on the page. So character personality comes through much stronger. So these are the same characters as these guys. And the way that I am capturing subtlety now, and I'm not saying I'm an expert or anything like that, but they just appear to have internal thought processes. They look to have internal lives. These guys, it's very cartoony and very surface level, which is cool too. But to be capable of doing both is something that I'm proud of. This was just a complete test doodle, but even my test doodles look better. This is Kim Wexler and Jimmy McGill from Better Call Saul. Here's another one I wanted to show you. This is just a quick little foot drawing that I did, just of my legs, and compare it to 10 years ago. It might not seem like a big difference, but the line confidence between these two drawings is huge. And how I developed this line confidence is really just switching to pen. Just switching to pen, that's it, that'll do it. So again, I still do script comics in here, and it is just equally as messy as before. I do start drawings, not like them, abandon them, and move to a new page. But I let pages go empty now, for clarity reasons. This is Lord of the Rings. Some of these are good, some of them are silly. I still do media tests. Page 1 of the last sketchbook also began with a media test. Throughout, you'll see that I just have watercolor splash pages, but I switched to gouache, and I'm really glad I switched to gouache because gouache is a lot more bold and a lot prettier, I think. Especially for a person who leans towards messiness, gouache helps me a lot. I still do little comics in here. I draw different types of characters. Busts is still my comfort zone. This is what I mean about abandoning pages and letting mistakes lie on their own. And then when I talk about application, here's the background that I observed from life, and then here I drew it again from imagination, adding things in, and then I put a character in it. So this is what I'm talking about when I say observation and then application, immediate application, so that you can take what you learned and put it in to show that you've actually learned it, to actually integrate it. More comics. This is always going to be a feature of my notebook. And then, like I said, this sketchbook I'm really focusing on perspective and placing characters in backgrounds. So the next few pages are just tests of different backgrounds. This one didn't work out because sometimes I still make really ridiculous mistakes, but that comes from trying new things, and that's what sketchbooks are for. So here, speaking of trying new things, here I'm adjusting pupil size, trying on different styles, and I didn't like any of them as much as just my actual everyday style. So that's fine. It's good to try new things. But again, perspective studies. And then on my last sketchbook, I wrote that I was really poor at drawing kids of any age, and you'll see that's not the case anymore. Here, I'm extremely proud of how I can get personality across in different characters. just from still images. This, I think, is hilarious. I think this is brilliantly done. Good for me. So in the 10 years since my last sketchbook, mainly what I focused on is how to make studies effective and efficient. And also, faces, which are the most important part of a drawing to me. Faces and personality. And now I'm working on bodies and how to make bodies portray personality as well, in different shapes, in different perspectives, in different camera angles, in different lenses. And that's what I'm working on now. So that's what the rest of the sketchbook will be. But for now, it's empty because I don't do 6 sketchbooks in a year anymore, because mostly I work digitally, first of all, and secondly, I know what I'm doing now, so I don't have to go searching as much. I'll finish the sketchbook up probably by the end of the year. Maybe I'll try to do it faster so I can show you the rest of it. But between the 2 sketchbooks, I just wanted to show you the difference between somebody 20 years old, doesn't know what they're doing, and somebody who's worked in the animation industry for quite a few years, and now draws for fun and for learning and for self-gratification, really. Here's the difference between my 2 study styles, back then and now. I hope that helps you somewhat, and if it didn't, I hope at least it's entertaining. Sometimes it's just fun to look at other people's drawings, huh? Maybe I'll make this a regular thing. Let me know what you think. I hope you have a really good week. Thank you for watching.